Tonight, police are investigating after a child falls from a balcony.
At this point, we will be looking into who was home and what exactly happened.
The 2-year-old boy rushed to a trauma center after falling from an apartment building in Mississauga. We'll have the latest from the scene. Plus,
airline on-time performance across the airport increased to 44% of all flights being on time.
Not great, but an improvement. Airport officials say things are speeding up at Pearson after months of travel headaches, but there is still a long way to go. And
turning this staffing crisis around is possible.
Ontario's healthcare unions lay out 5 demands to help solve the staffing crisis in hospitals, calling on the Ford government to take immediate steps before things get worse. Good evening, I'm Kelda Yoon. A child has been rushed to hospital after falling from a balcony in Mississauga. It happened at an apartment building in the area of Erin Mills Parkway and Fowler Drive. Our Meg Roberts has the latest in the investigation.
A 2-year-old boy has fallen from one of the balconies that you see behind me here at this apartment complex in Mississauga. Peel Regional Police say they were called to the scene at around 5 p.m. this evening. The boy was transported to Sick Kids Hospital. Initially, police said he sustained serious injuries that were potentially life-threatening, but later updated the boy's condition to non-life-threatening injuries. Police did not say what those injuries were or what floor he fell from.
At this point, we will be looking into all of those things, who was home and what exactly happened. And this is a tragic incident.
It's unclear as to how the child was able to climb over the balcony, but police have a message for parents, especially those living in condos or apartments. They say on top of making sure windows and doors are locked, it's important to take a look at the items on your patio.
If you do have furniture on your balconies, make sure that that has been removed, or you can actually have really heavy furniture, something that can't be moved by young children, so that they can get up on it and possibly over. But again, I think just strongly, I know kids can be kids, they can get away from you pretty quickly.
Police say they're investigating what led to the fall. It's still unclear as to who called 911 and how long that child was on the ground before emergency services were called. It's also unclear as to whether the child was a resident here or visiting. Police say they will be on the scene for a while investigating. Meg Roberts, CBC News, Mississauga.
A woman in her 80s has died after a collision in Scarborough this afternoon. Police were called to the scene at Victoria Park Avenue and Surrey Avenue at around 3:30. The crash involved 2 vehicles and the woman was a passenger. Police say she was found trapped and unconscious inside. She was rushed to hospital where she died of her injuries. It's been a summer filled with travel headaches for people flying in and out of Pearson Airport. The delays and cancellations drawing international attention. Well, today, the Greater Toronto Airports Authority said they've taken great strides to fix the problems and things are improving. But as Greg Ross reports, there is still a long way to go.
We are on a path to restore predictability and reliability to air travel.
The Greater Toronto Airport Authority says measures like installing new electronic screening devices and hiring thousands of new employees are starting to speed things up at Pearson Airport.
82% of passengers are now being screened in less than 15 minutes.
She says they're starting to see fewer flights being delayed as well.
Airline on-time performance across the airport increased to 44% of all flights being on time.
That is better. It was only 35% in July, and according to FlightAware, Pearson has moved up from being the worst for delays to 4th worst among the world's busiest airports. But that's not good enough for many passengers.
Our flight to New York was canceled.
This man and his family already had 2 flights canceled when more bad news came.
And my son-in-law just got a text that his flight's been canceled.
They fumbled the ball. They failed Canadians. They get an F.
This business expert says Pearson's improvements are too little too late.
The experience that Canadians had to go through to travel, it ruined hundreds of thousands, if not millions of holidays. It put people out financially. It stressed people out.
The GTAA says recovering from Canada's strict pandemic response is difficult.
Pearson went from being one of the most shut down airports in the world to one of the busiest. We didn't go from 0 to 100. We went from 0 to 500.
This argument that, oh, we didn't anticipate it. Oh, is that right? We didn't know that airplanes were coming here with all of these people in them. We didn't know that the airlines in Canada sold all of these tickets. They should have planned it better.
Hijazi says the bad PR this is creating could have a lasting impact on Canadian tourism, with travelers thinking twice about flying to Canada. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
The Canadian economy lost about 31,000 jobs last month. It's the second consecutive month of job losses. Still, the unemployment rate stayed at a record low 4.9%. And as Nisha Patel reports, many sectors are struggling to fill positions.
There's a goal many Canadian businesses are finding tough to meet: hire more workers.
And it's not just the airline industry. Everyone's fighting for the same group of people.
Arvin Nagulis is holding daily job fairs, trying to fill positions to clean and refuel aircraft. His recruiters have been busy as airlines ramp up rapidly to meet skyrocketing demand.
That presents a lot of challenges to be able to recruit, to train, to get the right people.
Hotels and restaurants are desperate for workers as post-pandemic business and leisure travel booms.
It's become certainly increasingly competitive in terms of attracting talent. Our demand has grown exponentially.
So where did July's job losses come from? The public sector, and especially service industries, retail and wholesale trade, healthcare and education. Some of the decline can also be explained by a surge in retirements. Last month saw many older women exit the workforce.
I think we saw delayed retirements through the pandemic. You know, who wanted to retire when you couldn't travel? And now we're seeing those numbers ramp up.
Still, this is the tightest labor market in decades. There are almost 1 million positions open across the country. Wages are rapidly rising, up another 5% last month. Experts say Canada's challenge is not a lack of jobs. It's a lack of workers.
We have to think about longer-term structural issues like what is the demographic growth? What is immigration going to add to our ability to grow our workforce?
Those doing the hiring at Canada's National Exhibition are confident they can meet their hiring goals.
We had over 1,000 people very early lining up, ready to go. We have hired over 750 people.
Good news for young job seekers hoping to work the Midway for the first time in 2 years.
Just to get some money as well as just like have a good fun time.
After months of driving full speed ahead, Canada's jobs market appears to be slowing slightly. But experts say amid low unemployment and higher wages, policymakers will continue hiking interest rates next month. Nisha Patel, CBC News, Toronto.
More relief at the pumps as we head into the weekend. Gas prices are expected to drop another 8 cents at midnight.
My family's in London, so I travel back and forth for visits, and the gas is killing me.
Just even driving around town, it costs a lot more money because you don't get the mileage.
Yesterday, prices fell 6 cents a liter and dropped another 6 cents overnight. Prices have been on a downward trend since June after months of increases. Tonight, they're expected to fall to just under $1.60. That will be the lowest price drivers have seen since February. Let's go to Dahlia Ashby now with a first look at the forecast. And Dahlia, another hot and humid one out there. Will this last into the weekend?
Well, Kelda, it has been humid, it will continue to be humid, and it really won't be cooling down anytime soon, except for maybe the evenings. There's an extreme heat warning that is in effect for Saturday and Sunday, which we'll get into in a second, but the sun is sticking around, but there is also a chance of rain. The daytime highs in Ontario today, 29 degrees, Windsor 29, across the area mostly in the high 20s, and with that humidex earlier today, it felt like anywhere between low to mid 30s. Now, in terms of rain, can we expect rain this evening? Well, it is a possibility. Tomorrow morning, it's going to be mostly clear skies, as we can see. There's 40% chance of rain, scattered showers, but for the most part, it's going to be clear skies on Saturday. Sunday, we start seeing more cloud coverage and a higher risk of rain. And again, that heat warning that's in effect. So hopefully that will cool things down. As for tonight, it will drop to 21 degrees. Tomorrow is 31. And with that humidex, 41 degrees. So stay hydrated and check in on those that are vulnerable and your loved ones. Kelda.
Always good advice. Thanks so much, Dahlia. Several healthcare unions are banding together to demand the government do more to address the staffing issues plaguing Ontario hospitals. They say nurses are past their breaking point, burnt out, and left believing there's no hope for change. Ali Chiasson has more on their demands.
Because nurses cannot go on strike. We have life to look after. We have people to look after. We love to look after people. That's why we decided to do this job.
Due to staffing shortages, nurses are feeling overworked and underpaid because Bill 124 stifles their salary increase at 1% annually. They can't strike over it.
So people will leave the job.
Today, a coalition of healthcare unions laid out 5 steps the government can take to stop the hemorrhaging.
1, provide the existing workforce with physical and mental health support services. 2, send a signal that the provincial government is listening to the cries on the front line by repealing Bill 124. 3, put in place financial incentives to retain staff. 4, recruit back retired staff. And 5, to invest in training now for a growing and aging population. If Premier Ford doesn't like our plan, then what's his?
Ontario Health Minister Sylvia Jones gave the College of Physicians and Surgeons and the Nurses College 2 weeks to come up with a plan to expedite the registration of new internationally educated healthcare staff, like Jeremy Pentig, a practicing nurse from the Philippines.
It's very frustrating for us. These are nurses, these are our colleagues, and we want to help them, right? And we have the skills, we have the ability to help them. But please give us the chance to.
It's estimated there's a backlog of about 26,000 internationally educated nurses like Jeremy, whose credentials and exams are in various stages of approval.
We are here to help and sacrifice, but please give us the chance to serve.
It's a storm, it's not a crisis.
Are you concerned that it'll get worse before it gets better?
I see signs of it getting better already.
Humber River Hospital has had an advantage in weathering this storm because they have educators on site training nursing students. The CEO says fast-tracking nurses like Jeremy is great, but not a cure-all.
So if we can get people with COVID back to work as they recover, and those numbers are coming down, if we can get summer vacation over, we'll get another little bit of a break. But we do need a big recruitment campaign, and then we need to keep the staff we have.
Talk to the nurses, let's work together. We are ready to work together. We are burnt out, but we are trying our best.
Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Toronto.
Ontario NDP interim leader Peter Tabuns is laying out the party's agenda for the upcoming legislative session.
People are simply paying too high a price right now. The Conservatives' choices are costing us too much. Our official opposition team is strong, it's ready. We're coming back into the legislature Monday reinvigorated and ready to fight for what's right.
Tabuns also took aim at Ford for the ongoing healthcare crisis and rising inflation. He called on the government to table a budget that focuses on both issues while investing in long-term efforts to fight climate change and improve education. The opposition leader also asked the PCs to scrap Bill 124, saying it's contributing to the staffing shortages in Ontario hospitals. The legislature resumes Monday, and Ontario's Lieutenant Governor will deliver the speech from the throne on Tuesday. The federal government says it's moving forward with a ban on the import of restricted handguns without the approval of Parliament.
This isn't just about an important policy announcement. This is about paying homage to every single person who has been impacted by gun violence.
The government says it will use a regulatory measure to put a temporary ban in place. That's set to take effect August 19th. The government says it will remain in place until Parliament passes a permanent freeze on the importation, purchase, sale, and transfer of. Welcome back. Another day, another canceled concert. The Ever After Music Festival was scheduled to take place next weekend, but was officially called off today by event organizers after failing to secure a permit. The Electronic Music Festival has not yet said if they will issue any refunds. Dale Manukduk has this story.
Festival goers have been waiting 3 years for the beat to drop again at Ever After.
And while the music festival's website is still counting down the days and you can still navigate purchasing tickets, the 3-day event is off.
It's just really upsetting. As soon as I caught wind of this video posted of the city council talking about it and denying the permit, like my stomach dropped.
That would be the Oro-Medonte Council meeting from July 21st.
And given the current status of the Ever After Music Festival operational planning,
with feedback from the OPP, the local public health unit, and paramedic services, the township decided not to issue a special event permit, citing potential impacts to public safety of attendees, performers, and staff.
This is the one thing I do every year with my friends, right? And so it's just kind of like, what do we do now?
Caroline Regier has been to Ever After twice. This year, she booked a hotel through the festival.
And we called the hotel, and when we did, the hotel said, they had never received our payment. They got our booking. They knew we had requested a room, but they never received the money from Ever After.
The festival is being held at Burles Creek Event Grounds, about 30 kilometers north of Barrie, where Boots and Hearts Country Music Festival is happening this weekend. In a statement posted to Instagram where comments have been turned off, Ever After says their plan included many of the same details as Boots and Hearts, going on to say all ticket buyers will receive an email with more information about their orders and options by next week. Moon Newhook says she's out about $3,000 from VIP tickets, accommodations, and other expenses. She's been coming to the festival every year since 2016, a tradition with her daughter.
I want a refund. I definitely want a refund. I want to forget this happened. Just give us our money back. Do what's right.
Last year, the president of Beyond Oz, who produces the event, says they could not issue refunds for the canceled 2020 show. CBC News made repeated efforts to contact event organizers today, but did not receive a reply. Dale Manukduk, CBC News, Toronto.
A celebration of Vietnamese culture is taking place this weekend. Taste of Vietnam is back and already underway at Nathan Phillips Square with something for everyone.
People can expect different variety of Vietnamese cultural foods, fashion show, a parade, live entertainment, music, and more. And there's tons of different photo installations that represent the Vietnamese culture.
The festival began this morning and runs from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. again tomorrow. The event is also bringing awareness to an important issue. Parts of its proceeds will go to nonprofit organizations to help stop human trafficking and exploitation.
This weekend, we're hoping that somewhere between 60,000 persons by end of the weekend would pass through. It's wonderful being back. The smell, the aroma, just the togetherness.
Jerkfest is also kicking off today at Centennial Park. The festival, as the name implies, is a 3-day celebration of jerk cuisine, music, and entertainment. It runs until Sunday, and there's even more to see and do this weekend. If you feel like being by the water tomorrow, head down to the Humber Bay Shores Waterfront Festival for a day of live music, food trucks, and a beer garden. Meanwhile, Aloha Fest Toronto is happening up at Mel Lastman Square on Saturday, celebrating the Polynesian community. Also on Sunday, Kingston Music Festival at Downsview Park will celebrate Caribbean music and food. You might even catch Jamaican superstars like Pop Kane and Shensia. A live look at the Toronto skyline, mostly clear tonight, staying that way overnight. Still pretty muggy out there, currently 24 degrees, but feeling closer to 30. Let's go back to Dahlia now. And Dahlia, lots of events happening around the city this weekend. For those heading out, a warning, it's going to be hot.
That's right, Kelda. Extreme humidity, extreme heat, and the story for this weekend is stay hydrated, stay cool. But there is a chance also that there will be scattered showers, which will hopefully bring down the temperature just a bit, at least at night. The daytime highs in Ontario, Toronto, 29 degrees, Windsor, 29. So most of the area, it was in the high 20s today. And with that humidex, it felt anywhere between low 30s to mid 30s. Now, as for rain, what we can expect tonight? Well, mostly clear skies as we head into tomorrow morning. Again, another clear day for the most parts. There is a chance that there could be some scattered showers throughout Saturday evening as we head into Sunday. Again, there's those cloud coverage that we see, that little bit of that fog. So with that heat, it's also probably going to feel very muggy. So again, you can see right here that precipitation activity probably making its way down and giving us a little bit of a cool down on Sunday afternoon. And as we head into tonight, things will cool down a little bit. It'll be 21 degrees. Tomorrow afternoon is when we see that humidex ramping up the heat about 10 degrees higher to 41 degrees, and the risk of a thunderstorm that we were talking about, and 40% chance of rain. Tonight, temperatures will cool down. 21 degrees in Toronto, Hamilton, Mississauga, 19 degrees, Markham and Oshawa 17. So a little bit cooler in Markham and Oshawa. Now, as for what we can expect over the weekend and for the next few days as we kick off the work week on Monday, Saturday and Sunday, there's that heat warning in effect. So please make sure you check in on those who are elders, vulnerable, and your loved ones. Stay hydrated, especially if you're planning on heading out to any of the festivals this weekend. And Monday, 28 degrees. Make sure you bring your umbrella to work because there's a 70% chance of rain. The plants are getting a bit of a break from all that heat and the sun, and so are we. Tuesday, 23 degrees, 28 degrees on a Wednesday. And as you can see, throughout the evening, it will start to cool down. Wednesday, 14 degrees. So stay hydrated, stay cool, and have a wonderful weekend. Kelda?
Thanks so much, Dahlia. And finally tonight, a spectacular sight is lighting up the night skies near Iceland's capital. The massive volcano began erupting yesterday on a mountain near Reykjavik. Many people flocked to the site to see the bright orange lava flows and plumes of smoke spewing from a fissure on the mountainside. Now, that's despite authorities urging people to avoid the sparsely populated area. It's situated near the country's main airport, so it's being closely monitored by officials. But currently, there's been no disruptions to flights. And that is our show for you tonight and for the week. Thank you so much for watching. Shannon Martin has your next local newscast tomorrow at 6. Have a great weekend, everyone.